the PowerPoint.
Ramadan. Today's topic is genetic center and life force interaction. And all of you are familiar with both the topics, genetic center as well as the life force. We have spent long hours. And now, today, we will concentrate on the interaction, how both are helping each other, how the genetic center is essential for the life force to perform the function, how the genetic center determines the strength of the life force and also helps way for the life force to act. So this interaction is interesting. I suppose we have not dealt with this aspect earlier. Tarun, have you heard any uh, lecture or discussion on this interaction? Tarun is there? Ashwin ji,
Namaskar.
namaskar.
Uh, no, I haven't heard much about this. Maybe uh, if I heard it in the past many years ago, I don't recall specifically. So
We have
you
not discussed it in this meet. We have not discussed this interaction. Both,
true,
yes, yes,
true.
sir.
I was thinking if Swamiji had discussed, I don't recall specifically.
Swamiji has discussed in piecemeal. He has made
Right?
reference when he talks about genetic center. He refers to life force, and when he is elaborating on life force, he uh, he cannot avoid genetic center. So both are interconnected, related, and if both have a synergism, if both work together, then we can reach excellence.
True.
So
Logically, also it makes sense because everything is continuous, so they have to be connected. But
yes,
it'll be very interesting uh, to listen to this now. You have everything so well organized, and the chain is established in a very logical manner to explain. So I am very curious to listen to it. Thank you.
thank you, sir. Um I welcome Ananda and senior professor Guru and Rajmohan, everybody. So
நன்றி ஐயா.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். This we will take up genetic center first, and genetic center is something very vital, but surprisingly, no one has talked about it in spirituality. And Maharishi has given this new concept, and it is assuming a huge, big dimensions to explain vital aspects of the Padipasupasam, or the individual, the mind, and the the karma or imprints. All those things are connected with that. So let us see. Uh, Genetic center is formed by the spinning system of physical body, astral body, and causal body. It is interesting to know that all the three are spinning systems which have the same focal point. They have the same point, and the three bodies spin with the same axis. And if we look into the part that is taking part, uniting to form the genetic center, is closely related in the sense that in the physical body, it is the sexual vital fluid that is taking part. In the spinning system of physical body, the Sabda Tadus, they all spin around, and the sexual vital fluid being the heaviest, it takes the pivotal position at the center. So, as a general character of this spinning system, when you reach the core of the spinning system, the axis of the spinning system, it is the velocity is almost zero. And as you go from the center to the periphery, there is a velocity gradient and increase in the gradient. Being a spinning system, the seven tadus are arranged in according to the specific gravity of the tadus. The, the rasam, the blood being lighter or in the periphery. Then you have the muscle and the fat intermediate layer, and you have within the bone the marrow and the sexual vital fluid. So if you look into the sexual vital fluid which is taking part in this spinning system, which takes part in the formation of the genetic center, the sexual vital fluid is totally abstract. It is not available for physical verification or the examination of the vital fluid. It is a formless energy. I have called it before as energy. I repeat it now. It is the energy which is densest among the seven tadus, and it is occupying the central portion. It has the least velocity, the delta equivalent there, and it is almost occupying the center. And in the life force, what do you have is the energy particles or divine dust particles. They form a spinning system, and these energy particles or divine dust particles take part in the genetic center, and the part which is involved in the genetic center is the slowest of the energy particles or divine dust particles. The speed matters a lot. The energy particles, when They are in the periphery of the spinning system of life force. They are highly dynamic, and if they gain more strength, velocity, or wavelength, they just leave the system of the life force particles, and they leave even the body. Whereas if they are within, they progressively the velocity comes down to the central zone where it is uh, the slowest, and it is again the least velocity. The next moment it will be gone. It would have become the magnetism. So you are dealing with the divine dust particles in their most unstable aspect. That is, they are particles, but any moment they will become biomagnetism. So this is the special feature of the divine dust particles taking part in the genetic center. Now the last, the causal body, and this being the biomagnetism. And you know the spinning system of biomagnetism exhibits beta, alpha, theta, delta waves, and what take part in the actual core of the genetic center is the delta rhythm, that is 4, 3, 2, 1. After 1 what? It is 0. This also becomes 0. And essentially, in any spinning system, the axis is formed by the stationary point. And when we deal with the genetic center, with life force and biomagnetism, it is almost a absolute space which is common to all the three bodies. The sexual vital fluid is in the form of space there, only energy there. The divine dust particles are losing their form to become space, and the biomagnetic body or causal body, it is almost that is, it is in the ultimate form, namely the energy form. So all the three components exist in a single form, that is absolute space, with the varied amount of energy circulating. So what happens to the energy when these three types of energy, vital fluid, the energy particles, or the divine dust particles, and the delta waves, when these three unite to form a common denominator, that is the absolute space, what happens? It acquires specific qualities. It attracts, it repels, convergent wave and divergent waves. They meet, and there is, though it is stationary, it has hectic activity going on there. This stationary point of absolute space in the pivotal portion of the spinning system is responsible for all the properties, activities of genetic center. And This zero frequency at the center and the very various frequencies of matter and energy put together gives the special characters of the genetic center. When they unite to form the genetic center, what happens? It is the absolute space which, if it expands, if it starts moving, it becomes the divine dust particle or energy particle, or it becomes the thadu, the seventh thadu, the vital fluid. And to recapitulate, the vital fluid is the ultimate, the last order of the seven thadus. And the seven thadus, starting from the juice, blood, juice becomes thicker to form the blood, and blood becomes solid to become muscle, and then a change takes place. These first three tadus, they were increasing in their den, that is thickness and particular nature. But when it comes to fat, it becomes liquid, and crossing there, it becomes bone and marrow. Bone is the uh, most solid. It gives the structure for the living being. And within that marrow, you get the jelly like marrow, bone marrow. And out of this marrow, you see the invisible, formless energy, the ultimate product of the seven tadus, taking part in the genetic center. The sexual vital fluid is the condensed form of energy of the seven tadus, ultimate energy, and this energy is closest to absolute space. It behaves as though the vital fluid itself is the ultimate. It is very close to absolute space, so it is endowed with all the properties of the absolute space. It can form any thadu in the body. It can form any uh, seven thadus. It can repair. It can form new thadu, and it is right from juice to vital fluid. Anything it can be, and there is no function which is not performed in the physical body by the sexual vital fluid. For the conduction of the energy, impulses, message from one part of the body to another part, it is the vital fluid that is involved. If the, and again, it is the same vital fluid which is going to form a new embryo growing the to become a progeny of the partners involved. So you name any activity in the physical body, it is formed by, it is performed by the sexual vital fluid. The pluripotency of the vital fluid is something unimaginable and very much similar to the capabilities of absolute space to become anything at any place. And looking at the energy particles or divine dust particles becoming part of the genetic center, they are the slowest energy particles available in the body, and uh, one step closer to the center, they lose their form of the particle and they become the energy. So I may be looking like repeating the same, but in all the three uh, levels of the constituents of the genetic center. But that is because of the importance of this thing. The delta wave, which is 4, 3, 2, 1, and that 1 becomes a 0. So the center of the genetic center is similar to a black hole where everything disappears into this thing hole. And this magical, divine, miraculous part of the genetic center is responsible for all the manifestations of the genetic center, all the surprising activities of the genetic center. So, this is about the genetic center. Now, let me give some breathing time and may request the audience to raise some salient points or raise some doubts or whatever it is. Before we go to the next one, that is the life force, let us have some clarification about the part played by the genetic center. Who will be willing to talk? Rajmohan, let me have the happiness of hearing the voice of
வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
Alhawad.
You have nicely explained three bodies. The genetic center is having the physical body, life force, the astral body, and the causal body. And the physical body has got a sabdadadus, 7 dadus from juice to sexual vital fluid. And the sexual vital fluid is very close to the absolute space, like a vapor. Okay, that is what I understood. The density differences are there from juice to blood, then fat, muscles, fat, and bone. From the bone, you get marrow. There it becomes lighter. Then again, from the marrow, you get a sexual vital fluids, still like a fluid or like a vapor. Okay, it is very close to the absolute space, more or less absolute space. So final, it is absolute space. When we know earlier, from the absolute space, divine dust particles are produced, association of divine dust particles, life force particle. So from the sexual vital fluid, it acts like a absolute space. There the divine dust particles are produced, then again life force particles are produced. Like that, this is the main source there. main source of this one. So genetic center is a pivotal point. And from there, the gradient is there. So very density energy is there at the center. Then that is a delta wave, one frequency, then 2, 3, 4, like that. Gradually, that gradient is there. And similarly, life force particles also gradients are there. So at the center, in your picture, black color is there. Then afterwards, life force particle, then biomagnetic waves. So at the outer periphery, biomagnetism is there. So that is the gradient. So far, this is the one you have explained up to this one. This is very clear. I'm able to understand, and it is very clear to me. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Dr. Ananda, would you like to?
Thank you, Aya.
Yes.
Sir, you have explained it very clearly, and it's a good revision to hear this again and again from your own voice. I will just summarize whatever you have said so that as per the request, it will be useful for the other members in the meeting today. We all know about our ancient Tamil terminology that Andathil irupathudan Pindathil irupadu endru. So to translate this in English, whatever happening in the universe is what happening in an individual body also. So the absolute space constitutes the causal reason for the universe. It resulted in formation of the divine dust particles, formation of galaxies, then planets, stars, etc. When those things happen, a small part of the absolute space becomes the nodal point for an individual human being. That is known as genetic center. And in that genetic center, the absolute space constitutes as the sexual vital fluid. When a person meditates, say for example, Turiyatida meditation, there is no movement in the mind. When our mind waves were nice and calm, low frequency, we are associating ourselves with causal body. There are no thoughts. So during that time, the genetic center, which is a common point between the three bodies, causal body, our own subtle body, which Maharishi calls as astral body, and physical body. During Turyadidam, we are associating with the causal body. By chance, during that meditation, if somebody gets a sudden thought that, okay, I think it's time, I need to go to office, something like that, then the genetic center vibrates, that creates that frequency. That frequency is the reason for the thoughts. During that phase, again, we are not associated with the physical body, we are associated with the thoughts. That constitutes the astral body. Respecting the astral body's thoughts, vibration, if somebody concludes the meditation and start moving the body, start getting up and start their usual day-to-day work, that constitutes the physical body. So a single point genetic center is the primordial link with all the three bodies. In our day-to-day life, we use the same nodal point and the source of energy in the form of sexual vital fluid to run our physical body. Just sitting and thinking, we are constituting ourselves to astral body. And if there are no thoughts, if the mind is in, say, samadhi, we are associating with the causal body. During the physical body, the genetic centers, constituents, seminal, sexual vital fluid because of frequency feeds the formation of various organs, which is what the Saptatadus. And when our thoughts were too much, we may be even wasting the thoughts. If the frequency is too much, say somebody is getting so much of anger or shouting, etc., our own biomagnetism getting wasted. That's what, when the vibration is too much, we get that sexual vital fluid getting wasted even outside the body, and it goes into the back to the universe. So this is my way of understanding and summarizing, sir. Instead of repeating exactly what you said, I want to put it in this way, and I'm happy to be corrected, sir. வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
Appreciated. Very nice. Ashwin ji,
I just was thinking along the same lines as Dr. Ananda was speaking. So I don't have much to say.
we will spare time, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And Manisha, you want to tell something?
I was actually thinking and recalling about the imprints that are lost at the interface. I remember in the earlier sessions, once you mentioned that even the imprints are lost at the interface according to the frequencies at which they were formed. So is that right? Because I was wondering, why are imprints lodged at the interface? Why are they not here and there? Like, is it because of the heaviness? Is it the density? And if they are lodged at the interface according to the frequencies, how are they taken up from the interface through the biomagnetic wave up to the brain? I was just trying
Yes,
to
yes.
understand that, sir.
Okay. That is a vital point. Then I thought we will deal with this when we come to imprints.
Yes.
But you have raised it. See, imprint is formed as a contracted Xerox copy of the sense organs. Experiences of the sense organs are carried as an image from the sense organ, and as that image travels towards the genetic center as the part of the circulation within the body, what happens, the orbit of the wave is very peculiar. We have not seen an orbit of this nature anywhere else. Here it is, when the velocity is maximum at the periphery, the image is formed, and that is taken up by the biomagnetic wave. And this wave, along with the image, as it moves closer to the center of the genetic center, it contracts, shrinks, and when it reaches the zone of the genetic center, there it has shrunken to the maximum point. That is, the image taken by the biomagnetic wave at the sense organ is almost knotted, and it becomes this thing. When the image and the biomagnetic wave shrink to a level of point, they both fail to get attached, remain in company of the other. So when they have become a dot, a magnetic domain, then they both separate. The image gets separated and the wave also gets separated. The biomagnetic wave enters the center and starts a fresh circulation, next round of movement in the orbit, in the causal body. Whereas this image doesn't have the energy sustained. So it has become so much so a clump is formed, folded on itself, and this we call a knot, a magnetic knot. And this becomes a separate entity. It has fallen out of the biomagnetic wave, and it is formed when the biomagnetic wave had the frequency and the wavelength, everything were existing. And the image that has formed out of it retains all the qualities, and they are locked up in the knot, the magnetic domain. So they are nothing but magnetism, but the magnetic image has folded on itself and it has become a knot. That it has got separated also. So the biomagnetic wave as well as the energy particle, divine dust particle, they continue their circulation within the body with genetic center as the focal point. But these these images, the prints are becoming knots, and they don't have the energy to move back. They don't have the energy to expand to become the original image which has taken place. But this takes place though all these knots are suspended in the region of the interface, where the frequency is in the level of between 1 and 0. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Between 1 and 0, these magnetic domains are dropped there. And since the velocity there is least, it is almost 0. These magnetic characters are suspended in the region of the genetic center, and they form the uh, seed material for the subsequent functioning of the stored image, which has become a this thing. And these knots are called the imprints. And these imprints are as a result of varied experiences at the sense organs. And they have different frequencies, different qualities, and they are taken up by respective biomagnetic wave which is circulating in the body. So this is the reason why the imprints are formed, folded, knotted, and left in the vicinity of the interface. That is, one point closer to the center, they are not there. Another point towards the periphery, they become the knots ready to unfold. So this takes place in each and every genetic center as the biomagnetic wave emerges from the genetic center to start its circulation. When the biomagnetic wave emerges out of the genetic center, it gets attracted, it resonates with the imprint that is floating in the center of the genetic center, and they shake hands with the biomagnetic wave and the imprint. They get joined, paired again. And as this pair comes from the central zone of the genetic center towards the periphery of the genetic center and then towards the periphery of the body, it is a reversal takes place. As it reaches the genetic center, there was shrinkage and the shortening of the biomagnetic wave. The elastic nature was allowing it to become almost become a point. It is the point where the biomagnetic energy becomes an energy particle, and again where the energy particle dissolves into magnetism and becomes the circulating energy. So this constantly supplies more imprints to the genetic center, and the emerging biomagnetic wave, the converging biomagnetic wave deposits imprints, and the emerging biomagnetic wave offloads the imprints there. And here the frequency of with which the image is formed, with which the imprint is formed, is very much responsible for selecting a proper, appropriate, resonating biomagnetic wave, and the imprint gets paired with it. And when this wave reaches the sense organs or the brain, it is expanded, and the matter, and that is the information, is unfolded, and it is available for the thought to pick it up. So this is what is happening with the imprints there. The imprints are nothing but our own experiences, and the sense organs create the imprints, and the genetic center makes them imprints, and each imprint is very much alive, retains all the information with its retaining frequency and wavelength and everything. So the information is only formed out of magnetism, and magnetism is nothing but the shadow, and so they don't occupy any volume. It is, you can superimpose any number of the shadows one on the other, and still there won't be a mass as against the physical body. If they are piled up one above the other, the space may not be adequate. But if the thing is only shadows, then they won't occupy any observable mass there, the volume there. So even though we have imprints right from the day of movement of the uh, formation of the first genetic center, right from that day to this day, all the imprints are taken, and these imprints are responsible for the character of the individual, and they are carried from the parents to the progeny, and it is continued. That becomes the genetic line. So I suppose it explains, Manisha.
Yes, sir, it was very visual, very, very visual, as if you have taken us on a journey of the imprint. So thank you so much.
So, does that mean that genetic center has no volume?
Genetic center, as you know, is the center of the three bodies, where it is represented by the absolute space and the energy, biomagnetism. So it is vital fluid, biomagnetism, and the energy particle, all becoming one as absolute space. So absolute space has no volume, and genetic center has no volume, and that makes the genetic center unique, and it is what we call the opposites existing together. It
So,
has form and it is formless. It has a wave and it is zero wave. And it is the particles with zero volume. So
so that,
everything is so uh, special, so divine about it. And that is absolute space.
but that means that the genetic center and the absolute space are the same.
Yes, everything has come out
But
of absolute space.
no,
And as this happens to be a spinning system, at the center of the spinning system, the axis of the spinning system is nothing but absolute space.
no. But if you say genetic center and absolute space are the same, but the genetic center has attributes of biomagnetism and so forth, whereas absolute space has no attributes. So,
This is exactly the biggest enigma, biggest obstacle for understanding divinity. You be there at the point where the physical body, astral body, and the causal body becoming one cannot be differentiated into the three, and all the three becoming one, that is absolute space. And when this starts moving, it becomes the gets differentiated into the three. The particle stage, the vital fluid stage, and the wave stage, biomagnetic wave stage, all becoming one at the center, but reappears as they emerge out of the genetic center.
but the way I'm trying to understand or think that when under the self-compressive force, when the absolute space uh, disintegrates into the divine dust particles and so forth,
Yes,
it starts collecting the attributes which makes the absolute space in the state of a manifestation. And the genetic center, in my thinking, is a, a manifestation of the absolute space, not the absolute space itself. Correct me if I'm wrong.
that
And
is,
it has duality form, duality.
Correct. Yeah. So
it
genetic center
has
is a
duality. Uh, Let me intervene and explain. That is, in the last week webinar, we dealt with the absolute space, the absolute varied manifestation of the absolute space. In some places, it is with quivering kinematic nature, and in where the energy particles appear, and where the energy particles associate to form life force and all. Whereas in other places where there is a static absolute space, there is no deformity, no change, no differentiation. It is Sada Sivam, the, uh, the absolute state without any change, deformity. So the difficulty arises with absolute space understanding because it provides a protean states manifested in uh, in its vast presence. And there are uh, evolution of dust particles, the life force particles, life force, and the Panchabhutas and Sabdatadus, and they become the galaxies, the stars, satellites, and all, and become galaxies. But in between the two galaxies, there is countless distance, which is only space, nothing more than that. It is that. It is so the very fact that these galaxies are far, far apart. They are not close together. Even within the solar system, between the sun and the planets, there is the distance is so much. From Earth to reach sun, we have to travel for months, years, and all. So, like that, it is the varied presentation of the absolute space that gives varieties of creation.
One thing I just wanted to uh, share my thought is that it may sound a little bit off from the focus of the talk today, but since it occurred in my mind, I would like to share. When we talk about spinning system and the axis, and the moment we say axis, we always try to think in terms of a geometry, that it is a line around which the thing rotates. And
The North Pole, South Pole, and rotation.
no,
Everything
I
comes.
understand. I understand. But I recall Swamiji always used to tell me that Russian stop thinking in terms of all that geometrical thing. It is not the way you think that something is rotating around an axis. This rotation is a multi-axial in the sense that uh, all around 360 degrees. So the rotation is not just he used to tell me that stop thinking about the geometry, length and all that. Once you stop thinking and in your meditative state, you try to realize or experience how the spinning system works, then you will figure out uh, from that uh, spinning system at the divine state level into the spinning system that we think in terms of a geometry. So I don't know if it's sometimes hard to understand in terms of words, but
So that is
how,
what they say, that if you start looking at the object presented as dog, then you see the dog there, and the stone or the wood there is disappearing. Only the dog becomes a reality. If you start focusing on the material, that is wood or stone, then the dog disappears. Like that, if you
Correct.
are
Yeah.
carried away by the frequency, change in frequency, the convergent wave becoming the divergent wave, emergent wave, then everything changes. The picture is totally different. And
Yeah.
all exist in the same unimaginable, minuscule, nano particle size. So that is the biggest enigma. Even if you go into meditative state where your mind is still, when you become one with the absolute state, all these things disappear. They become nothing there. And only when you come out of it, all these things appear. The manifested things are away from the center, and at the center, it is absolute space only, where everything unite to become the unmanifested absolute space.
Right. When we think of self-compressive, we we tend to think that everything is getting compressed from all directions. But when everything is compressed from all directions, it still points to a one point where it converges. But that point itself is also self-compressive. So
Yes.
uh,
So
self-compressive is just I believe, or I think Swamiji tried to explain the absolute space using those
exactly.
terms, but it's a what do you call it? It's a recurring phenomena. The self-compressive, it compresses something, but that itself is also compressive. So
It is quivering, kinematic, everlasting, ever increasing. Very, very difficult. And it is difficult to imagine. And I know very well that as long as you exist, your mind exists.
we're losing his voice, I think.
No, there was a call,
Oh, okay.
incoming call. So right. So as long as we both exist in different understanding. So we will stop at this. The discussion will stop here. So allow the time to help us to digest and come to commonality.
Yeah,
Try to
I'm sorry to
understand.
I'm sorry to divert the attention or
No,
the
no,
focus of the talk.
we enjoy. I'm sure that everyone would have enjoyed the discussion between us to provide more understanding.
I have only one
Okay.
point I wanted to mention here. Only one point.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
this is an order of function, how the consciousness is at different level of order. So that's the differentiation from the absolute space of nothing to different manifestations. Yeah, that's the point.
It is we are zooming the
Consciousness.
area where the frequency is from 1 to 0. The 1 to 0 is 0.99 n number of nines, and decrease it one by one to create any number of stages between 1 and 0. So at every point it is different. That is it. So anyone else to volunteer to add some point?
We'll put another PowerPoint here. Otherwise,
Yes,
we
yes.
can continue
No,
the
yes,
same.
right. Yeah, you put the PowerPoint. let us have some show relaxation. Yes. Next slide. Vijay Lakshmi, next slide.
Oh, it's going in the next slide, yeah?
It is not moving for me.
Oh, is it? For others, can you able to see?
Are you seeing slide number 1 or 2?
No, it's not moving. We're not seeing the slideshow.
Oh, is
Ah,
it?
It's
Okay.
number 1 only.
Oh, I shared it. Oh, 1 second.
ah.
I'm sharing my screen, right? So you're seeing the genetic center, the first page with black and white.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Is it moving?
Next slide, not
No, it's
moving.
not. It's not moving.
Now you see Maharishi
Yes.
We see Maharishi.
here blank. Now the
No.
normal structure.
No, it's not
He
moving.
he remains. He
The
is not
orange.
moving. Maharishi is a
Maharishi is omnipresent there. So
Oh, the fruit you can see orange. The lemon fruit. Apple.
No,
no.
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 Oh,
We still
wow.
see only Maharishi the first one. So unshare and share it again. So you'll probably.
Okay.
You put the lemon or orange there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
an
better
apple.
now. Yeah, it's an
It's
apple. And
apple, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
So
yes.
before it was
See,
orange.
okay. We accept anything. If
it's
it can
moving
help
now.
me,
So it's moving now.
okay. Yes. You see, the orange or the apple, they show the layers, spinning movement, and matter arranged according to the density, and the central core axis connecting the stem part and the petals part with a Sushumna Nadi there in an apple or any other this thing. Almost this is the universal nature of architecture of the things with life force, where you have the life force and this thing. The tomato also explains the same architecture. Next. Oh, this is the so picturesque kiwi fruit and the egg there with all the layers, the spinning frequencies. Yes, nature reveals so much. Still, we don't appreciate. See this lady's finger. Do you have any other eatables, vegetable, fruits, or anything which is different other than the spinning system explained here? Yes, next. A egg also demonstrates the same. Yes, the various layers of the onion. It is so picturesque. So the mosquito exhibits the layers. All right. Next. See the uniformity in the architecture of the living beings and the vegetables, fruits and vegetables there. Next.
Sorry, it's not getting into clarity. That's what I'm trying to get into clarity.
Fill it up with your imagination. So all the projections exhibit these three elements, the physical, astral and causal. You put the other one, that is the genetic center and life force. Some
Mhm.
less number of slides there. You get out of the
Mhm.
genetic center presentation.
Okay.
No, close it
Yeah,
and
we already had that slide in here. We already had that previous slide.
no, but the lower slides in the lower order, they showed something different.
Yeah, this here we have a lot of detail. That's what I
And
would like to put it more. Here we have a lot of detail. Mhm.
when you look into the details, you will be slow. You may not be moving.
Yeah. So these things we already saw.
Yes, yes. So you close this presentation. This is
Mhm.
genetic center and move to the other one, which showed
Okay.
Swamiji.
Mhm.
Swamiji here conveys different thing. So this is here, if the genetic center, the character of the individual is say yellow, and next slide, the information about is given, fed to the genetic center, is in the nature of blue. The yellow and blue put together brings out the green. Next slide. So, no, stay with
Mhm.
the
Sorry.
previous slide. So, you were with the quality of yellow, and your experience, new experience, is in the form of blue. But what is happening in the genetic center is this yellow and blue mix to produce green. So the nature completely changes in the genetic center when two different characters mix, and it is reversible. So if you click back, the green disappears, blue and yellow comes out separately.
Sorry.
Go back. Yes, go back. Yes, it is blue. Back, it is yellow. So the genetic center has all the three, the yellow, the blue, and the green, in its nature, in its composition. Depending upon the point where you focus, whether you want to be your own, it is yellow, and when it is the new information that has got introduced into the genetic center, it is blue, and when both 1 and 2 got mixed, it is the green that is manifesting. Okay, that is the drama played by the genetic center. Okay, it will go on, it will consume time also. So
Mhm.
close this genetic
Okay.
center presentation and go back to that one. or we will take it up next time. As it is time, we will take it up next week. Yes. I will rearrange them next time and give you a clear picture. Okay? Vijayalakshmi, hope you understand.
Yes, yes, sorry, I'm talking in the mute. Yes, this is the second PowerPoint that we already
Yes,
saw
yes.
up to this.
Yeah. Next. Next projection. The comparison between brain and the genetic center is a fascinating aspect. In our body, physical body, in scientific uh, arena, we give so much importance to the brain. We place all the activities in the brain, whereas Maharishi puts everything in the genetic center. And it is interesting to spend some time with the question, is both are same or different? Do you need a genetic center? Is it necessary, which is not there in science? Why to bring it in this thing? What is the information which you get more than by studying brain alone? So how the parents convey their uh, characters, genetic information to the progeny? Is it possible with the brain alone, or mm, genetic center is performing the magic? Right? Next. So the interaction between universal magnetism and biomagnetism and the role played by the genetic center in allowing the two to interact. Next. Yes, next. The Sivakalam is dark matter. Yes. No, previous slide. Previous slide. Vijay Lakshmi, previous slide.
Okay.
So this is the space divided into the Shakti Kalam and the Shiva Kalam. It is just like a yellow of the egg and the white of the egg. Okay, then this slide got deformed, so animation is not working in harmony. So we will move to the next. You have a better presentation somewhere else. We can see that. Yes. Genetic center and sexual vital fluid. So what the SVF is doing to the genetic center? It is what is happening in a cyclone. The people who have experienced the cyclone at Chennai and Andhra Pradesh can follow it better. See, it is the eye of the cyclone which is simulated to the sexual vital fluid there. The eye of the cyclone shows the contents of the eye, that is the masses, the objects, trees, branches, lampposts, building materials, everything. The houses are broken to pieces and they all revolve round. And so these are moving in the eye of the cyclone. What is it due to? It is the solid contents of in the eye of the cyclone is giving energy to the cyclone from ordinary whirlwind to a spinning wind to a cyclone to a tornado. It is the most destructive. So all these things take place depending upon the contents that are floating in this thing. Proportional to the amount of the solids floating in a hurricane, the thing works here. Okay. Life force. Next slide. See, it is the spinning field is shown. The common man, it is the major part is occupied by the beta and the alpha. And in the yogi, it is the uh, theta and delta. And the beta and theta, beta and alpha becomes a thin rim around the dominant maximum part explained in the picture. Next. So this is where the invisible biomagnetic force or electromagnetic or the magnetic force act and see what magic is doing. If you want to hold all the balls there without the magnetic force, it will be very difficult to carry. Whereas with a magnet and magnetic force, they come so easily. Similarly, they act in a biomagnetic field. Next. So when the life force is weak, it is divergent waves, emerging waves. The life force particles and the energy particles, they leave the spinning system. When the life force is intense, they enter into, represented by the arrows at the periphery. More particles enter into the system. Next. So the life force particles, which is an association of the millions of dust particles, and see how they spin. I thank the architect of this slide, animated picture, so much. It conveys things which cannot be explained by words. Yes. Next. Next slide will show. No. Here, go back to the previous slide. Here, the upper one shows the iron particles are suspended haphazardly. And when you introduce a magnet into the central portion there, they all cling, assemble towards the axial point. That is what is taking place in a living spinning system. Next. Not necessary. Leave it. So it is almost 9 o'clock. Close down the show. Yes. So, gentlemen, I thank you for your patient hearing, and I have not completed the rest of this thing is to focus on the life force. Our focus will shift from the genetic center to the life force. How the life force manifests, functions differently according to the genetic center. If the vital fluid increases in quantity, it becomes most powerful event like a tornado. If it becomes weak, it becomes imperceptible like a wind flowing in a open space. Those things we will see how the interaction between the life force and the genetic center helps to evolve the imprints, and how the imprints function we will see. Unfortunately, I have not completed the presentation. If had I completed that, I was asking Ananda Kumar to give a presentation on the karmas and the imprints. The karma is the enigma of life and spirituality. It is very difficult to understand, but from time immemorial, for thousands of years, this understanding, this discussion is going on, and Maharishi has given a very strong, solid presentation, undisputable presentation of the karma theory that we will see in the possibly in the class next, that is the second session, not the next week. Next week we will complete. Allow me to put up with me to complete this presentation and appreciate the role played by the imprints to add color to life. Okay.
Yeah, Manisha has some questions. Yeah.
Yes, Manisha.
Yeah, sir, actually, there is a question in the chat box. So I will just read. I'm
Please.
also interested in knowing that. It says, how many drops of blood makes one drop of SVF?
That is 80 drops. Praveen asked.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you are talking about that question, Manisha. Sorry, I thought you have some question. Sorry.
No. I was talking about that question only. I have no question today.
Okay. It is instead of concentrating on the number of drops, you know that it is a fraction, a minor fraction of the blood becomes the vital fluid. The vital fluid is beyond our research point, being imperceptible. it is not available for research. We have to do it in our minds, in our brains, and not on the laboratory to understand. So that is the difficulty with spirituality. Next. Anything else, Manisha?
No, sir. No, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
Just when Anand Kumar is going to make presentation on karmas.
It will be
2
nice.
weeks we have Christmas and New Year. Do we
Okay.
want to contact?
Okay. Thank you.
So we have some unavoidable visitors who claim their importance, the Christmas and the New Year. Shall we accommodate that also? Okay.
Yes. At least I'm not available.
You give your ideas to Vijay Lakshmi. She will work on it and decide. And there is a change which you would have noticed that instead of everyone putting their views in the WhatsApp group, only admin reserves the power to
That's a good thing that you did, and it stops cluttering the messages also.
increase, making it swollen with lot of information and failure to get any consensus. Let us select and put the this thing information recordings in the WhatsApp group. What is to the discretion of the admin Vijay Lakshmi and carry on. Hope you all understand. To save your time, my time, and our time, this arrangement is made. And when it is required, it is flexible. We can go back to the give the rights to all the members to share their views also.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I had asked Vijay Lakshmi to remove my admin status long time ago.
Okay. Ramadan. Shall we close with your permission? Shall
Yes,
we
please.
conclude?
Yes, please.
Yes.
We
Taranji,
conclude.
Vijayalakshmi,
Yeah.
conclude.
Tarun, you wanted to conclude?
No, you can conclude, Vijay Lakshmi.
World blessing. May the world be blessed with plenty of rain. The farmers work to produce an abundance of grain. Let practitioners of all prosper, flourish, and grow, and culture progress through the need to share and grow. Let the rulers be beyond feelings of anger or fear, illiteracy, poverty, and all evils made to disappear. Let the true lamp of knowledge burn steady and bright. Our sense of duty guide us along paths always right. உலகமெல்லாம் பருவமழை ஒத்தபடி பெய்யட்டும், உழவரெல்லாம் தானியத்தை ஓப்புடனே பெருக்கட்டும், பல தொழில்கள் புரிகின்ற பாட்டாளி உயரட்டும், பகுத்துணர்வில் தொகுத்துணர்வு பண்பாட்டை உயர்த்தட்டும், கலகங்கள் போட்டி பகை கடந்தாட்சி நடக்கட்டும், கல்லாமை கடன் வறுமை களங்கங்கள் மறையட்டும், நலவாழ்வை அளிக்கும் மெய் ஞான ஒளி வீசட்டும், நம் கடமை அறவாழ்வின் நாட்டத்தே சிறக்கட்டும், நம் கடமை அறவாழ்வின் நாட்டத்தே சிறக்கட்டும், நம் கடமை அறவாழ்வின் நாட்டத்தே சிறக்கட்டும். வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
Thank you.